Hello, we have a lot of exciting updates. Last month we had Summit, and now a lot of features announced on Summit are going to public preview or even general availability. So let's jump into updates. First, really important update is that there is now free version of Databricks. It is serverless version, which include almost all functionality of normal version, even AI agents, and all serverless options. There are no standard compute, but there is a full offer of serverless. Of course, there are some limits how much DBU you can burn, and it's personal, so it's just for one person. So you cannot have team under free version. But if you want to register free version, which I recommend to everyone, just go to Databricks page, click Try Databricks, and here you have small font looking for Databricks free edition. Click here. And here you can register, you can use your Outlook or Gmail event to do it. So it's really quick and it will give you workspace with full menu, like all options which are in normal workspace. What's next? Next really exciting update is that now in Databricks there is available PostgreSQL. And why it's important? Because when you use Spark, Spark is really good to read big data. Yes, because for example, in most use cases, Parquet files are optimized to 1 GB. So if you want to get single record, you need to get whole file. Transactional database is working differently, so you can have really fast time to retrieve, for example, single record, which is really important. For example, when you want to do some online feature engineering that you want to take, for example, get customer ID, and then you need to get all details. And it's in real time, so you cannot wait like 5 seconds. You want to have it in milliseconds. And there are a few more things which I will show you now related to that. So there are like two ways how you can interact. First is that you can connect your notebook SQL editor directly to Postgres instance. Maybe first we will look to that instance, and then we can see how it's working. So when you go to compute, you can see that there is OLTP database option, and here you can create new Databricks database instance for Postgres. Interesting options here. You have capacity unit. It basically allocate more memory to that Postgres. So for example, one capacity unit, it's like 16 gigabyte of RAM and 2 CPUs, and you can allocate more. There is also restore window. It's really nice because you can clone a whole database like in Git, yes, that you do clone, yes. So you can have point in time restore. Not only can be used for restore, but also other use cases. Of course, you can do it programmatically, so it's open like window to new use cases, because you can copy whole database and have new, for example, to make some experimentation. So that's why it's that option create from parent. But what's really interesting is that you have this high availability option. So basically you can set, for example, a lot of readable additional instances, which will improve performance, but also will give you high availability, because if one instance is down, primary node will automatically switch to that secondary ones, and you can put here as many as you want. Of course, you will pay for them, yes, and you can select this. That, for example, is good practice that this secondary clusters will be as a read only. So the one will be for write, and that ones will be for for reading operation, but of course it depends on your workload. You can monitor your performance of that PostgreSQL. You can adjust your configuration. Okay, and what is the most amazing part? I created here on PostgreSQL a table with 1 million records and select query under 1 millisecond. So sometimes I saw it's bigger in the beginning when you do first operation on some table, but you can get really amazing retrieval time, and it's like getting 1 millisecond with Spark is not possible. Yes, so that's why it's like opening a lot of new use cases which we can do with that. And what is really nice that I created that table in Postgres. I call it bench transactions. I created schema bench. It's schema in Postgres, so not in Unity catalog, but that schema and that objects are automatically synchronized to Delta file in Unity catalog. So when I go in Unity catalog to Databricks Postgres, I can see all tables from there. And when I go to bench, I can see the table transactions. And you can see that I can use normal Spark SQL warehouse to see that table, because it's automatically replicated. But there is also another way that if we go to normal delta table. So let's use that one. When we click create, there are sync table, so it can sync that table automatically to Postgres. And additionally, what I found really useful is with select database instance, so it's that instance. What I found really useful is that the duplication option, which is based on, because you select primary key, yes, and in Delta files, primary key is at least currently not enforced. So there is possibility that you can have, for example, two the same records for primary key. So you can have one record 5 created with ID 5 created 2 days ago, and you can have another record with ID 5 created today. And here is automatic deduplication, because in Postgres primary keys are enforced. So you can select time series key, and it will make the duplication based on that time series key. So that this way, for example, you will have only one record. So like slowly changing dimension type 1. Yes, and once its table is synced, you can select if it's a one-time sync or it's running continuously as a declarative pipeline, former Delta live table pipeline, and then that table can be queried from Postgres. So let's check it. We see Postgres database. And here should be our table. Yes, because we created table persons, and this is that replica from Delta. So it's really nice. And also regarding that view, when you are in SQL editor and you select that Postgres instance that you want to use it, then automatically here in catalog you see only the objects which are available to Postgres. So the one which synced or one which were created under Postgres. So I think this is really amazing how it's working. And also what is really fantastic is that there is transactional database, but there is still that separation of file system and compute, because that files like delta files are synced from Postgres, and also soon the transaction files, vanilla Postgres SQL files, will be also on your storage account. So it's really amazing, and I think everyone who use Databricks and Spark, now we can learn another SQL syntax, because it's different, and there are a lot of nice options. We can see that, for example, here it's called big serial, so the naming convention is different. So we have a lot to learn now. Yes. Okay. So it's enough about Postgres, and let's jump to another update. And another update is related. Yes, it's related to Databricks One. I will open that tab. So Databricks announced a really nice version of Databricks made especially for business users, and it will have that beautiful layout, which is not yet available. But what is available is that you can already onboard your business users. So when you go to settings, and when you find users, or you can make it through groups also, and let's open the user. There's entitlements, and there is and you can disable workspace access, SQL access, and just give business user that option, consumer access. It will give access only to dashboard and Genie spaces. So it will give you access to that experience, which soon will be available for business users. So, okay, so let's log in as a business user, and we will see what the business user see. Okay, so I log in as I created test user, and I log in to Databricks with that customer entitlements, and I can see that it's really reduced workspace. When there is no any data engineering or SQL stuff, and there are just dashboards, Genie, and apps. Yes, one more thing, because you can create some apps for business users, so then they can interact with Databricks through that apps without any technical jargon. Yes, so it's up to you how you design it, and I really recommend to start onboarding business users to some workspaces created for them, and soon that experience will change to that beautiful one experience of Databricks One. Okay, next update is relating to new function, AI parse document. So that function can change binary file text, extract text from binary file. So for example, here we executed that. So we first read files as binary format, and then we pass it to that AI parse document function. And then we can see that data from that invoices is extracted, but there is actually UI for that. If you go to agents, there is option use PDFs in agent bricks, so you can select folder with you need to have running SQL warehouse for that, and then you select folder with that files, like here invoices, and then you select destination schema, and you create a table with that files, and then the data from that files is extracted, yes, and it's creating actually workflow to do that, so you can then run it incrementally. And one is extracted. There is also option information extraction. So then you can change that data from that files which are in like text format to some more format as database. So here I built agent to process that invoices. So for example, here we have example input. So I have input like this because it extracted text from PDF, and then that agent prepared how to structure response. And what is really nice is that it's even supporting like complex data types, so it can create like array of objects with items on your invoice. But of course there can be a lot of different use cases. Yes, I just use invoices, and in my opinion it's working really well. So you can have a lot of use cases that, for example, people are sending invoices which have to be paid to some email, that invoices are saved to volume, and then that invoices are saved in a table, and then information extraction put them to database, and then, for example, you create Databricks apps to pay for that invoices. Yes, so really it's making the Databricks like one place for all use cases, because really you can create now whole business process in Databricks, and it's getting better and better. And let's look to another one. Because now it's I haven't tested it yet, but there is now Lakeflow connector. It's not yet through UI, but you can use through code to connect to SharePoint. So if your company is using SharePoint, you can get all information from that SharePoint and store it, all files from SharePoint in table, yes, with binary files. And what is really nice is that then you can create vector search almost automatically in Databricks from all these files. And in agents, there is option which is called Knowledge Assistant. So here you add source, so that source can be vector search index, and then you automatically build knowledge database. So for example, all data which is created by your users in SharePoint can be fit into vector search index. You can use also here files directly, yes, so you can have different architecture. And I think it's really nice that there is this SharePoint connector now. Of course, it could be nice also that we will get Confluence One and Notion One, so we could whole company knowledge fit into that knowledge assistant. A really nice solution. What's next? Next is that we have managed Iceberg tables. Before we had uniform, but and here is manage Iceberg table in Unity catalog. So you use that Iceberg table properties. Yes. So I created that table Iceberg orders. And let's go here and see that table. So first of all, okay, I will make it smaller. We can see that the data source is Iceberg and type is managed. And now when we go to details, then we can see that it's using Iceberg properties. Another update is relating to Delta Life tables, which are now called declarative pipelines. That change in name is mainly related to facts that declarative pipelines were donated to Spark and now are the part of Spark Spark Runtime, Spark open source. So it's not only that you can use them in Delta Life tables, but now you can use them, in fact, on normal compute, yes. But what is important here that Databricks changed the experience. So it's more that you can use open source as open source DLT as declarative Lakeflow pipelines. But when you use it in Databricks, you got that UI experience, yes? And you can see that it's really redesigned because when you click create pipeline, you see that it's really nice and it asks you, give you pipeline name, okay, XX, and then provide catalog and schema. So let's select, and then it's proposing you to start with sample code, or you have some advanced options. So let's start with SQL, and it's creating example how with new editor experience, and it's also guide you through that you can visualize your pipeline, define your pipeline logic, and you can click, and it's provide you really nice experience with graph visualization. So that's all option which were available in Delta Life tables were really improved. Yes, it looks really great. Generally, you need to spend some times to get used to it because there are a lot of options. Yes, but like that editor experience is really nice, and I think a lot of people will stop using IDE like Visual Studio code, and they will move here because it's really nice how it's designed. Another update related to declarative pipelines is that apply changes syntax was renamed to auto CDC. Functionality remained the same, but I think what is important that apply changes was advertised as way to handle slowly changing dimension. And here with auto CDC is like advertised to handle CDC, and we can have CDC not only for slowly changing dimension, but we can have this even for transactional data. So I expect that that performance is improving. Actually, there was a lot of performance updates, which you see only when you use products. For example, SQL Warehouse now is faster by 25% faster than was before, and data life tables, declarative pipelines were also recently improved. Yeah, and now it's much more faster than it used to be. So I think maybe soon it will be like preferred way to ingest all data, because market is really moving into change data feed. So then you can ingest using that option, auto CDC, and don't worry, and then you have no worry about whole ingestion pattern which you use, because auto CDC is universal and will just update your records depends on that feed. Another update is related to Databricks asset bundles. Now Databricks asset bundles are available in workspace through UI, and that's important because previously when you in development environment, when you developed, you had to go to jobs and create that job manually, and usually to higher environment you had CI/CD pipelines to deploy that jobs as a code. And now, in fact, I stopped using like that options here to create a job. And what I'm doing is that I create my job as a code, yes, in development environment, and then I click just deploy to deploy that code of job and all dependencies to the environment in which to the workspace in which I'm currently. Yes, so I can test it. Yes, and see and be sure that then later it will work okay. So we see that it's like integrated CLI in workspace. So when you develop your stuff, it's really nice. So we see that it was deployed, and now when we go to jobs, we see that job, and it's, for example, automatically prefixed. So also thanks to that, I don't have mess, because before I created a lot of jobs through UI, and then again I created some through CLI, and now that experience is really nice, and it's really make life easier. Another update is related to something which is called metrics view. It's really nice because it's creating layer like around your table. So for example, you have a table like this where you have transaction type, and that transaction type is some numbers, yes, like 1 for 5 means sale, another mean refunds, and around that you can build that metrics view and define, for example, dimension, measures, filters, and what like every ID mean, and create measures which are used. So then you don't have to hard code this in your code when you do data engineering. And also regarding maintaining that measures, if you have, for example, someone like data steward in your organizations, then that person can go to catalog, and let's find that that view. Where is that? Oh, transaction metrics, it's here, and you can use edit directly from Unity catalog and edit that measures. So it's also possible this way. And probably it will be extended to more advanced UI in future. If you have to generate some feature for machine learning, like dimension, for example, how much products customer bought in the last 3, 7, or 30 days. So in fact, you can use that also for that definition, try. So it's a really nice solution. So basically you build your table, and next to it you build these metrics views. And in Unity Catalog, except that edit, you have also nice visualization of all measures, dimensions, and filters. Another update is related to lineage. Now you can bring external lineage to Databricks. You can do it programmatically. Here is an example. In REST API, there are a lot of commands, but let's do it through UI. If you go to catalog, there is that option external data, which now handles also external location, but also external metadata. And here you can define entities. So in that example is tractor, which is sending IoT readings from the field. So you can add more external data objects. So it's a design for example, someone who is maintaining catalog, maybe not business user exactly, but some catalog owner to catalog data which is not in Unity catalog. And then you can also, for all these entities, add lineage. So you add lineage relationships. So we can create for that Kafka, let's create a lineage relationship. So, okay, so source will be that IoT device, and destination, let's select one of the tables, maybe that one, target, yes. So we select that table and create relationship. We can also add columns, but let's make it simple. So we created that relationship to that object. And if we go to that object in Unity Catalog and go to lineage and check see lineage graph, now we can see lineage to that object which we created, and it's included in lineage. Yes, so you can use it to document all your company data, which is not governed by Unity Catalog. Another update is related to drafts. Now when you create a query, probably soon also notebook, then that query, which doesn't have name yet, it's saved automatically to drafts folder, so you avoid total mess in your main folder where everyone has a lot of untitled notebooks or new query, yes? And so once you save that query, then it will be not in drafts anymore. So it's a nice update and make things a bit more organized. Another update is related to alerts. So alert experience was improved. So now you create, for example, a query inside alert. Before you had to reference query from old SQL editor, which was sometimes really annoying. And options are also improved. And what is important is that alert is saved as a file. Yes, it's not as available under Git. Yes, but you can keep it as a file, so you can manage it. So, for example, here when we are in our workspace, let's go there. We can see that alert which I created is just regular fire in workspace. Yes, so it's really nice improvement. Another update is related to something which I'm calling storage federation, but actually it's not called this way. So when you register external location in Unity Catalog, so let's go to Catalog, go to external data. Now you can create in Azure S3 location, yes, as a read-only. So you can mount storages from other cloud. Before we had R2 and now also S3. And it's really useful because I had a lot of use cases where I had to mount S3 volume. It said that it's read-only for now. I hope that it will be read and write soon. But it's available and you can mount it. And what's really nice is that in AWS, when you create credential, new IAM role, it's possible to make trust relationship with Databricks Workspace, so you don't have to use secrets. So it's really nice how it's designed. Of course, remember that you will pay for transfer, yes, because it's totally different cloud. So you will have it will be like public internet operation. In fact, in that case, on AWS side, because data will go out from the cloud and then it's charged at quite highly rates. So it's better to avoid to have big tables transferred through this regularly, but for other use cases, when you do one-time transfer and it's a small amount of data, it's a really perfect solution. Another update is that on serverless, you have now accelerator, which is GPU serverless. And it's really amazing because here in environment, you can select A10, which is a GPU, and then you can use it. Of course, use it only when you have scripts which can benefit from that GPU, yes, because otherwise it's a big waste of money, because you will pay for that extra, because the serverless consumption will be much more bigger. But on some workloads, here is example of workload like which using GPU, the benefit can be enormous, and it will, in fact, you will pay thanks to that less money because your workload will finish faster. So the best approach is then to check system tables and see how much money you saved. Yes. So select here A10 and also. Regarding serverless, there are now free environment versions. First is pointing to Databricks Connect 14, then 15, and then 16. So I expect that once there will be 17 LTS, then we have another one. Okay, another update is related to file arrival trigger. So in workload, especially for autoloader, you have this trigger when new file is saved on location, and before Databricks had to scan, yes, the storage system, so you had to pay for every read operation. Now Databricks can, like in managed way, automatically create event grid for your storage, or if you don't want Databricks to automatically create it, you can do it also manually. But then you need to grant additional permissions. Normally you grant event grid permission for Databricks to create it. But for manual, you need to grant also storage queue contributor in Azure. And then when it's granted, when you have external location, so let's go again to external, I click wrongly, to external locations here. When you create external location in advanced options, we have here enable file events. So usually for that you need separate external location, because you don't want to implement this event grid, for example, for whole Unity catalog. Yes, so just create, for example, a new container for autoloader, and then enable that file events, and you have here automatic or provided. So provided you create by your own event grid, and automatic Databricks do it for you. Then you have, if you frequently use autoloader, then you avoid that scanning payment from storage account. But remember that for event grid is also payment. When I use it, it was small, but it was like every day I paid, in fact, some fixed amount. So you can check what is better for you. For sure, with event, if you use 24/7, yes, non-stop autoloader, then with file events it's much more faster, yes, because it doesn't have to do scans until it gets information about that file event. Or if you have big structure of files or a lot of files, then also it will be cheaper. So I recommend you to test it if you have autoloader and see what is best for you. And another update is related to Runtime 17. So okay, so I will start compute, and then we will test some new features. Okay, so we can see that there is this Runtime 17. So let's start it. And wait, I will pause for a few minutes, and then we will test a few amazing new additions to Runtime 17. Okay, so our compute with Runtime 17 is up. This runtime including Spark 4. And here are a few nice new features. First of all, there is a data frame merge into syntax now, so it's much more easier to do merge in PySpark. Of course, I personally prefer to use merge in SQL and use spark.sql to execute that merge in Python. But if you don't like to use SQL, then you have finally native data frame PySpark code to do merge. Another update is related to procedures. So now in Unity Catalog, you can register SQL procedure, which can consist a lot of steps which do operation on the table. I wrote article about it on my blog, and I explain what are differences between procedures and function. And that procedure is registered in Unity Catalog. You can use call option to call the procedure. For example, that procedure is archiving orders. And it's nice that it's registered in Unity Catalog, so can be visible to other users as well, or even to business. So you can create your logic around that procedures. So it's in functions. So you have here a different icon, and you see that procedure is visible in Unity Catalog. Another update is related to recursive CTEs, and it's a really nice option. I haven't used it before, but I think now I will use it quite intensively, because what is unique that with that CTE, you can reference like itself, that CTE. And why it's important that you can build something like in your syntax, like build, for example, relations. So here we have that example that there is a relation between cities, origin, destinations, and using recursive CTE, you can, for example, calculate how many steps is between these relations, because you, for example, you select that relation, New York, Washington, and you can join now then with that relation, like with itself, another localization, and you can, for example, calculate or length between that relation. I hope that it's clear. There are some other example in Databricks documentation, but it's really nice for such a use cases like this. And last update is that in merge comment now you can use also non-deterministic expression. It means the expression which, for example, select random value or select value which is different every time. Here is rand, but a really good example is timestamp, which is different every time. So now you can use it directly in update insert for merge operations. And that update, which is really big, is tag policies. So now when you are in Catalog Explorer, you have something which is called tag policies, and you can manage your data, access to data based on tags. But it requires a few steps, because first step is that you need to define these tags, and you need to define who can manage them. Yes, because if you define access based on tag, then that tag cannot be like used by every user. Yes, because then it doesn't make sense. So you need to define that tags. You need to define who has permission to assign that tag, and also you can make description. Also, there is option allowed values. So, for example, in some use cases, then can be allowed values for some tag. And then once you have that tag policies in place, who can manage each tag, then if you go to table, let's see that table, you can assign that tags, yes. And here you can create another policies. They can be on table level, catalog, or on schema level. I created them on schema level. For example, in that policy for whole schema or catalog, you can have policy that there is column mask. So for example, I set policy that apply to all account users, that it have to be column mask. Then I select that column mask function, and then assign it to the given key tag class name. So then all fields tagged with as class.name will be automatically anonymized, yes, because it will display only first and last letter. So you need to create also that function, which will mask the data. And then when you are in that table, we see that you don't have to add anymore on table level that column mask, because it's enough that you have this tag. And then when we have sample data, that name should be masked, and it's working. Yes, so I didn't define it on table level, I just defined that tag, and it's automatically masking that data. And there is one more element that sometime ago Databricks enabled automatic data classification. So except tags which you, for example, assign to tables, then can be automatically processed, which is detecting that there is some, for example, some personal data, and it automatically apply that policy, yes, because it will tag it with that tag. And then that field, for example, will be automatically masked because you created such a policy. So here on the catalog level, you can enable that data classification. And I really recommend it, even if you don't apply the tag policies, because then you will know which tables contain sensitive information. So you select here schemas to each it apply, and then accept that it's automatically tagging, because actually in that table, which we saw just a moment ago, that tag class name I applied by myself, but all these other tags with class prefix was applied by that automatic process. Yes, so there are a lot of data in every company, and this way you minimize risk that some personal data will be displayed to unknown user, or you avoid data breach, because anyway when someone will log in, the person will anyway not see that personal data. And that data classification also is creating dashboards, so it display how much data personal data was detected, which data was tagged, and some other information like error with data. So it's a really nice solution, and I think it's a big step for Unity Catalog. And everyone, I think especially in Europe, because we have GDPR, should implement it, yes, to protect that personal data and be according to regulations. And you always need to create that masking function. So last thing, we can look to that function. Not this one, that. So in that function, you define that, for example, data is masked, but you can add here condition that you can have some group. I, for example, use group called PII reader, and that group will have access to that data. So then you can control that, for example, only a few users can see that personal data, or you can have also different setup. That's all updates for this month. Next month, I think we will have even more updates, as a lot of features now on Summit are becoming available. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. I recommend to read my blog on Medium. The address is databricksmedium.com. Thank you and see you next month.